Hello everyone, Final Gamer here, and we're off to a land far, far, far away from everywhere else, in one of my favorite cities in the whole thing. And will our guest please introduce himself?
Hey, I'm Frozentreasure.
And where do you hail from? Because I haven't said it yet.
I come from a land down under where the lyrics to the song that I don't remember.
So, we're basically in Sydney, which is apparently the only place that matters in Australia according to this game. So, what is your experience with Sydney, Australia?
I've been there a few times because it's a couple of hours away. I don't live in Sydney, I live in Canberra, Australia. Which the only interesting fact I really can know for sure about Sydney is that it's not the capital of Australia as much as apparently 90% of the world thinks it is.
Right. What is the capital of Australia?
Canberra, the place where I am.
Awesome! And we already have grand larceny in this city, where the Taronga Zoo koala has been stolen. The Coopers have stepped up their game.
Because there's only one koala in the whole zoo.
Yes, there is, and it's brilliant because it's a very special, very important koala that we're going to have to deal with.
It's not King Kong again, is it?
No, this thing is real. But I think they do something with it in this game. The koala is actually my favorite thing in the entire game, and you'll find out why. So, let's just get Yoshi on here to get into the land down under, where it's like, isn't it 90? It's like, how deadly is the wildlife in Australia? To be honest.
Where I am, like where the major cities are, which are all mostly along like the coastlines or nearabouts. We're not like all in the outback. It's not as deadly as it could be out in like the bush or in the like the middle of the outback. But it's in any case, it's not all that dangerous because, as opposed to if you got bit by a venomous spider in somewhere in Australia, you're probably fine because the medicine in Australia is more advanced and they're more trained with things like that. If you got bitten by a venomous spider in, say, South America somewhere, that's when you're kind of screwed.
Right. So we stole what appeared to be in that picture somebody's toenail, but is actually the only surfboard on Bondi Beach, because there's nothing else in Sydney worth mentioning other than surfing.
To be fair, Bondi Beach is pretty impressive that they had to go and make a TV show about it. One surfboard though, that's gonna get some infighting.
It's one surfboard. I guess it's like a very, very special surfboard. Maybe it's the first surfboard ever there. That would be something impressive to steal. If there was the first surfboard in all of Australia. That would be cool. But no. And I've recovered the koala! So, we're okay. It's quite impressive that the Coopers have gone up in their schemes, going from stealing inanimate objects and statues and a lot of stones to real-life animals.
Maybe it actually isn't a real-life animal. Maybe that's why they're so freaking out about it, because it's a single, solid gold koala.
Good point.
Also, I've been meaning to ask: is it possible to actually get hurt by the Coopers? Because you keep on
No.
you jump on them correctly, but if you just run into them, what happens?
Nothing hurts you in this game ever. You basically, they just run past you. It's literally impossible to get hurt in this game. In later versions, there are other more enemies, which I'll go through once we get to them. But yeah, you can't get hurt. You can easily hurt everyone else though, but I wish you could hurt the people. I wish I could hurt that tourist so many times because he's such an ass with his stupid puns. So it's kind of weird that Sydney, Australia, speaking of which, I got another item here. We have the sheet music from the Sydney Opera House. Impressive.
I saw that once. It's actually just the sheet music to Happy Birthday.
Really?
Signed by the two guys that it took to write that one song.
Wow. And of course we can't use that because it's copyrighted. So it is kind of. So I decided to go to the Sydney Opera House immediately and return it because the preservation of culture is very important to the world. It's kind of weird. Like everyone regards Australia as this very far and away, uncultured land of great wilderness and everything. And the Sydney Opera House is the biggest, most impressive thing in the entire land. It's very a juxtaposition, but it's kind of cool.
Well, it's the most impressive man-made structure at the very least. I'd argue that Uluru, or as some people know it, Ayers Rock, is far more impressive and probably about twice the size. I should actually learn the sizes of them.
Oh, definitely. I love Ayers Rock. It's gorgeous. So, we just got the easy question about Sydney Opera House looking like a sailboat. And I have to ask this guy, because the scientist always gets great facts, like Bondi Beach being 75,000.
Sorry.
What happened?
Yeah. Your audio screwed up again. It was going staticky. I'm assuming the question was, have I been to Bondi Beach? The answer is no.
No worries.
I don't think I really ever. I'm not really that interested in it though, mainly because it seems like the most terrifying place to ever go, because there's like regular accidents and like incidents that people almost die over and over or get hospitalized there, which probably, I mean, it would mean that it's like the lifeguards are incredibly competent there, but it's the sort of thing where like, well, why same way that the medicine in Australia is really good, but that doesn't mean that I ever want to get bit by a spider.
Fair enough. So, we got this clue about the koala. Tree-dwelling marsupial eats eucalyptus, something that every kid knows. You can take the ferry to Taronga Zoo.
And if a koala is and another interesting thing about koala is if it's soaking wet, it looks like the most terrifying monster in the universe. Seriously, if you Google images like wet koala, you will be freaked out for life.
Oh yes. Well, you're gonna find this koala even more terrifying because I've been waiting for this moment. So, there's a certain question in the game, and I'm really glad I got this. What does this little bear like to eat? Wait for the answers. Eucalyptus, nuts and berries, slow-moving children, or porridge?
I knew a slow-moving child. I lost contact with him when I was 5 years old. Never got back to him on that.
That's because of the koala! So, this question comes up. They keep this joke. Every game, it's always the same answer, and it's brilliant. And every time, I always answer slow-moving children in the hopes that I'm right. So, we have a child-killing koala on our hands. That's why we have to put this thing back. Taronga Zoo is like the Alcatraz of marsupials. That's why you have to access it only by ferry, I presume. So, we return this thing into custody, and I
would watch like a DreamWorks movie, not even like a DreamWorks movie, but I can't see Pixar doing it. I would watch an animated movie about a single koala trying to escape from Taronga Zoo as an Alcatraz complex.
Well, that's just Madagascar for it. So...
Oh, God.
So we managed to survive Australia and Sydney, and I'm very glad to get it over with because that koala is the single greatest thing in the entire game, and I've been building up to that.
Sweet.
So, and pretty much, I just can't believe it's slow-moving children. I like to think that there's some kind of Australian children's book in future, which will be like, see Jack run, see Tommy walk. Tommy was too slow, only Jack survived. And this is the thing in my head. The immediate thing I was thinking when I was watching that was, do you know that dingo who ate my baby story? Totally a koala. There's a whole conspiracy of koalas just putting it on the dingo to get away with it. And nobody ever knew. Okay, so, yes, I've run out of jokes on that. So I think we can end here. I'd like to thank Frozentreasure for tolerating me on this trip down under.
No problem.
And
I'm glad I could provide some entertainment in spite of not knowing anything about Sydney, more or less.
Well, neither did the people of this game. So we managed to all get in there in the end. So thank you very much, and I'll see you all some other city. Goodbye.
See yous.